Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. Today we will talk about modules, how modules works in Node.js and what are the benefits of the modules. Let's discuss it with one example. For example, you are having an application with 100 or you can say 1000 lines of code. So in that scenario, your code of 1000 line will not be repetitive too much and it will work very normally and you can execute, the compiler can execute it very easily and it will work very efficiently. Just imagine in case you have an application with 100,000 lines of code, and let's say there is a module named as currency calculation. Like you are going to calculate currency. For example, you have a currency in USD and you want to convert it into AED, PKR, Canadian dollars, pounds, euro, or any XYZ currency. So just imagine, like, for example, in that 100,000 lines of code, you are calculating currency 1,000 times. So for the calculation of currency or conversion of currency code, you will repeat 1,000 times. In that scenario, you will you will increase the space complexity and time complexity of your code too much. It will lag. Like in that scenario, for overcoming these kind of problems, making your code or project efficient, your application efficient, modules come into existence. What you will do is you will create a module of your codes. The code that is repeating again and again in your single file, you should remove that from that file, save it into the separate file and import it into the main file and reuse it again and again. The separate file is called as module. So let's say you have an application app.js file and you have three or four different modules that are repeating again and again. For example, module one is known as currency calculator that is repeating again and again. Module two, for example, is database operations that is repeating again and again. Module three, you can say is, for example, language change. It's a kind of language change that is repeating again and again in your application. So you must remove all three from your main file to three different files and then import them into the main file and reuse it. Let's discuss currency calculation module in detail in example code. So let's begin with the code. Here we have one file named as app.js, your main file, where your application is, assume that here your application is running. So you had created another file called currencyCal.js. This is one separate module. Let's create one function, convert to AED, and pass the value in dollars to that function. And here we will log that value, for example, console.log, and here inside it I said value, whatever the value pass, it's in USD, is equal to, so I will convert here the value in dirhams UAED by multiplying that value with 3.67 AED. So this is the first function for calculating, converting the USD to AED. Let's say there is another function that is converting your USD amount to PKR. For example, the exchange rate for PKR is 277.08. Let's export now. Without, make sure, like, we will export the folds, the functions now by using module.exports dot convert to AED equals to convert to AED. So here we had exported this function. So we can use it in globally where we can use this function wherever we had imported this currency calc file. For example, let's say it's CURRNC currency calc equal to require backslash currencyCal. If you are in subfolders, you can use double backslash dot as well. If it's in same folder, you can use simple uh, dot, simply dot as well. So this module is imported into your main file now. Let's say we will call this function currency convert to AED and pass $10 to it. Okay, now this $10 should be converted to AED. Let's go to our let's clear the console. Let's go to our terminal and try it. Node app.js. So here you see 10 USD is equals to 36.7 AED. Let's try to convert that same to PKR as we have function for PKR as well. So let's try this one. You see that there is an error. The error is saying that the function is not defined. So here we haven't exported this function. If we didn't export that function, here the imported module doesn't know about that function. So whatever the functions we are going to use into the other modules, we must export them into the current module. So we had exported now both two functions. Let's go and try this. So here you see that both are now working very fine. The currency of $10 is converting to AED here and PKR as well. But this PKR is converting into a lot of long digits after decimal. That is pretty not good. So for overcoming this kind of issue, we must round off this. So how we can round off? There is one global variable function available in JS called parseFloat. You can parse it as a float and then call the function on top of it to fix and pass as many as decimal places you want after the decimal. I want two, so I can pass two. Let's try this one. You can see here two decimal places are available after two and it's rounded off now. So this is the pretty basic concepts for modules. Let's say if you have 100 of functions in currency calculation, like you have to convert the currency to 100 different currencies. So you cannot write this module.exports 100 times. In that scenario, what you will do is you will use module.exports and you can pass JSON to that exports. So let's declare first one function here, and you can pass an anonymous function to that function. Anonymous function, we had explained it in our earlier lectures in the same series. You can go to anonymous function and read about it in detail, and we can pass the next function same as it is as anonymous function by removing the name of the function. So this is pretty best technique to export your modules. So let's go and try this one. Here you can see it works. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys like this video. In case you like our tutorials, please do not forget to subscribe and like our channel. We will meet you soon in the next tutorial. Thank you. Goodbye.